Okay guys, so here we go. So now we get to sew these together. Remember, we just pinned this. So we're going to take this seam, we're going to sew a seam from where this starts all the way to where it stops. We're going to reinforce this once we sew a little bit by back stitching so that we can make sure that this stays together and it's reinforced at the edge. We're going to sew about a 1/2 inch all the way across and then reinforce when we get down to the end of this one. Okay, so here we go. So just put your machine in. I'm sorry, put your fabric under your needle. We're going to stitch a little, then we're going to go back to reinforce, and then we're just going to go straight through. One thing I noticed when I went to the process of attaching the dishcloth, I broke a needle. So now what we did for that one, again, we're going to do the same exact thing for this one because these two eventually will be stitched together. I broke a needle, and I noticed that because the dishcloth is so thick, when you go to attach it, you need a heavier needle. So if you have a needle, my heavy needle is purple at the end. It has the little purple color at the end. That indicates it's for heavy fabric. And if you have a pack of needles, that's where you get the information on what needle is used for what fabric. So I looked it up and it said purple is for thick. I should be good now. You'll be good. So put in one of your heavy needles. If you're sewing with heavy fabric, velour, for whatever reason, it just seems to be heavy, but the dishcloth is heavy too. So you might want to use a heavy needle anyway. So let's get this last one on. Go up a little, go back, reinforce, and then we're just going to go straight over about a 1/2 inch. About a 1/2 inch, all the way to the end of the pin, and then we're going to reinforce it by going back. Okay, so we should have both of these sewn on now. Yep, we have it. It's on there. Take your pins out. Take all the pins out. Take the pins out of this one, and then we're going to do what we had discussed in previous videos. We're going to clean up our edges now by cutting off of our loose threads so we can always have a direction of where we are. Take off that thread, take off these threads. Some of this is just threads because I didn't finish the edges, which is why I said you have the option to serge it or whatever, but I just didn't think that step was necessary. So now you see we have one piece. We have the piece again that's going to go where the dishcloth is going to go, and we have the hook part, which is where we're eventually going to put a button and flip it over the oven handle. So yours should look like this. So now you have two. So you open them both out as such. I'm going to try and put this down a little so you can see my demonstration. So this is the first one, right side up, okay? This is your second one, okay? And we are going to take these two. Let me get it together for you. We're going to take these two right sides together. See? I have right sides together. And we are going to start pinning from this edge. We're going to start pinning, and I'll show you. I'm going to just walk through it with you. Just start pinning your edges together as such, just like this. Keep everything even as you possibly can. So when you get to this seam right in here, still keep everything even. And then this little piece right here, it's okay for that seam to flip over and pin it, because when we stitch, we're going to stitch over it. That's what's going to give us that keep our edges together. So see, I pinned it, you can see, and I let it flip over. So then what I'm going to do, we only pinned one side of the part that the dishcloth is going to go into. We're going to make sure everything is nice and even, and now we're just going to flip right to the next side. Again, see how I have everything pretty much even, relatively even. That's what you want, okay? And now we're going to pin on this side. So we're going to just keep pinning and pinning and pinning until we get to our seam. You remember what your seam was. That's where we actually brought these two pieces together. pin them together, and then again, that piece that's down, fold that down, that part of the seam on both sides, fold it down, okay, and pin, okay, and just keep pinning. Put another pin in because we want it to be as even as we could possibly get it. So now we have this side pin, we have this side pin. Now what we want to do is we want to take the loop part and pin it together, and this is what's going to bring everything together, because eventually once we get all of this done, we're just going to flip it. I wasn't sure how they actually had put it together, the person who made the ones that we're attempting to replicate, but when I played with it, I said, okay, that's what they did. All they did was sew the two together, and then we're going to turn it inside out. And again, look at how I'm keeping my edges as together as I possibly can, matching them together, because you want them to be as even as possible, so that when you flip them, that's how they are. Now you see the rest of this seam right here, just put a pin there so that it's flat when you when we sew down. I'll try and see if I can get it as close to, yeah, see how I pinned it. I'm just taking this and I'm pinning this seam down. See, so that the seams are open. That's a better word, open. And then go to the other side, and make sure that seam, these seams are open as well, or as much as you can, okay? So you do want them to be open, okay? So here we go. So now you should have one piece. That's one piece, right sides together, because when we turn it, these are our right sides, okay? So here we go. I'm just gonna finish it up, sew it, and then turn it with you guys. Oh, and about, I'd say we want to stitch, let's go for about a 1/2 inch. So when I say 1/2 inch, about that, a 1/2 inch seam all the way around. So I'm gonna go here, all the way over here, through my seam, up through here, over here, all the way around to the other side until I come back to the edge, the end of it, okay? So about 1/2 inch seams we want, guys. So set your needle up so that you can measure what a 1/2 inch is. I took my first needle out, pin out, I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna keep going around until I get all the way to the other side, 1/2 inch. Keep all your fabric together when you're turning. If you have to lift your needle, take some pins out, but hold the fabric in place with your hand, which is what I'm doing. I'm just holding that seam down so that when I get to it, it's still flat when we open it. And I'm just gonna go to that seam and then keep going and then stop. Then we got to turn around because we now want to go straight up to sew the hook part together. Again, 1/2 inch seams. I believe that's what we said, 1/2 inch we were giving ourselves, and even if we're off a little, it's fine. I know it works because I've already completed the other one. So again, just keep going up and then just kind of curve. I didn't get the curve exactly like I wanted to, but I think it's gonna look nice. So that's something that, you know, we can all work on later, getting our curves a little bit better. And then we're just gonna keep sewing. Again, we just want to get to that next side of the of our project so that we can see what it looks like once we fold it over. So again, take your time. If you have to use I use my fingers a lot, and then I pull pins out as I go and just use my finger to hold the seam down, and then I just sew over it. And then I'm going to take this pin out because it's in the way. Turn your piece of fabric so that now we want to finish that last loop, which is right here, and it's like an oval type shape. So just go in the shape about a 1/2 inch and keep going till you get to the end. Boom, you just sewed it together. I think I'm running out of thread in my bobbin, but we'll be okay. So then what you do, take your pins out. What I did was some of this so that we don't have too much thickness. I just took scissors and I just cut off a little, and you'll see why in a few minutes when we turn it. See how I'm just kind of going close to the edge? That way it's not bulky when we turn it. That's what this is going to eliminate, that bulkiness when we turn this. And go all the way down, guys, and boom, just cut off just the excess, just cut it off. Okay, and now we are ready to turn. So you just take your hand and you push everything on the inside and pull everything out, and boom, you already have your piece is just about done. Okay, look at that. And then I think I demonstrated before, to get your edges to come out, you take your scissors, stick them in your fabric. Don't poke hard, just enough to get your, I hope you can see, just enough to get your edges out, at all the fabric through. See how I'm doing? Just a little bit. Yep, just a little. Okay, and I think I may need to reinforce this edge. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to go back and do another stitch. Yeah, I got a little too close with my scissors, so to correct it, I'm just going to run a quick seam down here to make sure it doesn't fall apart, because we don't want our projects falling apart on us. And I think I just ran out of thread. No, I ran out of bobbin thread. So I'm just going to change my bobbin real quick. I always keep, it's not out, it's just not connected. I think I have enough to finish it, so I'm just going to try and fix that and put it back in. Oh yeah, so this came loose, and I'm going to re-thread that. And I'll come back, guys, so that I don't hold you through and I hold you up. I'll show you what it looks like when we turn it, and then what our next steps are. So please take the time to visit my website, Bustawraps, BUSTAWRAPPS, bustawraps.com. Video number 6. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. 5. I think it's video 5.